Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's jump right into this explainer. If you've been working in the AI space lately, you absolutely know the adrenaline rush of finally getting an AI agent working perfectly on your local machine. But you also know the absolute dread that immediately follows when you realize you actually have to put that fragile agent into production. Today, we're unpacking 4 major Microsoft Foundry updates that take those local prototypes and turn them into robust, production-ready powerhouses. We are going from friction to flow, and the updates we're covering today are absolutely going to change the way you build. Look at this statement right here. Building AI agents is easy. Scaling them is a nightmare. Man, that hits a little too close to home, doesn't it? Crafting the actual intelligence of an agent, tweaking that perfect system prompt, hooking up your tools, that's genuinely the fun part. It feels kind of easy. But as the source material we're looking at today validates, crafting the brain is only half the battle. The other half, keeping it alive, stable, and secure out in the real world, is where the real headache begins.
So let's get into it. Section 1. The AI production headache.
Just take a look at this laundry list of infrastructure hurdles. These are all the non-intelligence tasks we developers are forced to manage just to get an agent off the ground. You've got containerization and infrastructure, building images, pushing them to registries. Then there's security and identity provisioning to prevent data leaks, plus state persistence, dynamically scaling compute so you aren't burning cache on idle time, observability, and continuous evaluation. It is an exhausting operational load. But this is exactly where the Foundry Agent Service steps in. It gives you a hypervisor-isolated sandbox, a dedicated file system, automatic Entra ID provisioning, and built-in open telemetry. Basically, it takes this entire list completely off your plate.
Moving right along to Section 2, deploy code, not containers.
Okay, so we've got a stark, bold contrast here between the old way and the new way. On the left, the old way. Building container images, pushing them to Azure Container Registries, manually configuring everything. Sure, it gives you control, but it introduces so much unnecessary friction, especially when you're just trying to iterate. On the right is the new way, and it's brilliant. You literally just zip your Python or .NET project and upload it directly to the Foundry Agent Service. The platform will either install your dependencies on the fly, that's remote_build mode, or it'll just run your pre-bundled output directly. It natively supports Python and .NET, completely bypassing all that heavy lifting with container registries.
Honestly, the most crucial number to remember here is 2. If you're using the Azure Developer CLI, AZD, it now takes exactly 2 commands to go from source code to a fully active, secure agent. You just run az-init to get your configuration files, and then az-deploy to handle the packaging, the upload, and the deployment. That's it. No crazy curl commands, no messy token management, just 2 simple commands, and you're live. Next up, Section 3, built-in safety guardrails. Think about what this definition actually means in practice. An integrated safety layer that blocks harmful inputs and filters unsafe outputs in real time. Before this update, if you wanted your agent to be safe and responsible, you had to build custom middleware from scratch. You had to stand up a separate endpoint, intercept all the requests, handle the nightmare of streaming edge cases. It was a huge chore. Now, content safety is just integrated directly into the runtime. Every single prompt that comes in and every single response that goes out is evaluated on the fly. It is absolute table stakes safety work automatically handled for you.
All right, Section 4, real-time voice integration. We now have a completed protocol triad for hosted agents. At the top, there's the standard responses protocol for your normal conversational stuff. In the middle, HTTP invocations for webhooks and structured JSON. But the real game changer is that bottom row right there. Invocations via WebSocket. This gives you a persistent bidirectional connection. It totally eliminates that clunky, latency-inducing overhead of constant HTTP handshakes. By pairing this WebSocket protocol with frameworks like Pipecat, LiveKit, or Voice Live, your agent can natively hear and speak in real time. We're talking about a whole new class of customer service applications where every single millisecond matters. Moving to Section 5, the Automated Agent Optimizer.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. Live and production ready aren't the same thing, and the gap shows up quickly. It is so true. Your live customer support agent might forget to ask for an order number, or it starts offering advice it really shouldn't. Fixing that usually means manually tweaking the system prompt, testing it by hand, and just praying you didn't accidentally break something else. When you are managing multiple enterprise agents, this manual tweaking becomes a massive, crippling bottleneck. So here is how the Agent Optimizer solves that bottleneck using a closed-loop cycle. Step 1, it evaluates your agent's baseline against defined pass-fail criteria. Step 2, based on what failed, it actually generates new candidate configurations. Step 3, it evaluates those new candidates against the same tasks. Step 4, it ranks the results and recommends the best one, showing you token costs and everything. And finally, Step 5, you deploy the winner with one click. The craziest part, it generates and ranks these new configs in minutes, with zero model retraining or manual code changes required.
So what exactly is this thing optimizing? It targets 4 key areas. It can automatically rewrite your instructions, so your system prompts. It optimizes skills, generating reusable troubleshooting steps. It tests different models to find the best quality-to-cost ratio for your specific workload. And it even refines your tool descriptions so your agent knows exactly how to hit external APIs. Now, you might be thinking, what if I don't even have a data set to evaluate against yet? They actually thought of that. The new evaluate init command solves the cold start problem by generating a data set and evaluation criteria straight from your existing agent instructions. It's totally brilliant.
And lastly, Section 6, the road to GA. Let's look at what's coming.
The timeline leading up to general availability in June 2026 is just packed. We're going to see support for private Azure container registries inside your own virtual networks, managed VNet support, and expanded regions for all that real-time voice stuff. But honestly, the feature I am most hyped about is durable, long-running agents. Soon, hosted agents will actually survive container crashes, handle redeployments seamlessly, and persist state across multi-session turns with automatic recovery. The platform is just going to inherently remember context without you needing to wire up complex back-end databases yourself.
And that leaves us with one really exciting high-contrast question. The infrastructure is handled. What will your agent do next? From bypassing containers entirely with 2 simple commands, to that built-in content safety, real-time voice WebSockets, and the automated optimizer, all that deployment friction is just gone. The heavy lifting is done. The only limit now is the logic you actually want to build. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparks some serious inspiration for your next project. Get out there, start building, and we'll see you next time.